Runner-up to Leighton Hewitt in Adelaide and a quarter-finalist in Sydney. And it's the Australian to get us underway.
15.
Stoltenberg won the spin of the coin. And you must have second thoughts, I think, when you elect to serve right away against Agassi.
Umpire Norm Christ.
That's 10 centimes, Jeremy Mercer.
Yes, we had a little bet as to who the match umpire might be. I went actually for Lars Graf.
Or was it 10 Kruger rands we bet? He looks pretty eager, doesn't he, Agassi? Keen to get off the mark quickly. Why not? Best of three, of course.
A pretty eager start too for Jason Stoltenberg. Serve comfortably at the start of the match. What I'm pleased about Agassi, Fru, is that you might have thought that lost to Beresategi from 2-0 up, particularly when the draw at the Australian Open was opening up. And frankly, I think he was beginning to fancy his chances of winning the whole thing. That hasn't knocked him back at all.
No, it hasn't. He started off, didn't he, in San Jose pretty well, a tournament which he won, and I think that, of course, has cemented the good feeling that Agassi has this year, beating Sampras, or beating Chang and Sampras, the two top Americans, in successive rounds. So that it's quite a task for Jason Stoltenberg. But as you can see there, and there's Tony Roach, who looks after so many of the Australians, the Davis Cup coach, John Newcomb, the Davis Cup captain. And I'm sure he will have told Stoltenberg that in order to combat the terrific Agassi returning, that he may have to use that kick serve quite a lot. You can see, as we saw in that first game, the way it bounced, having kicked Roach himself, a left-hander who could kick his serve. You just give Agassi a much more difficult ball, really, to return, one that's jumping here and jumping there, rather than one that comes through straightforwardly.
Yes, and with Mark Philippoussis having opted out of Davis Cup play this season, of course the Australians looking for a second singles player with Patrick Rafter. The Woodies, Top Woodbridge, Mark Woodford, will have their thoughts. Richard Fromberg, Scott Draper, and even young Leighton Hewitt, they must all be in the minds of Newcomb and Roach. Andre Agassi, who has committed to play for America in their opening match in April against Russia in Atlanta at the Stone Mountain Resort, where of course he won his gold medal in the Olympics. And I was reading that the day after he confirmed he would play for the United States, the ticket hotline was absolutely swamped. Agassi, who's taken a wild card into the first of the Mercedes Super 9 events, Indian Wells, and has drawn another Australian, Todd Woodbridge.
Such a deep forehand by Agassi. very good footwork to get himself into position. But a good effort by Stoltenberg, who was looking for the angle because Agassi had gone so wide, looking for the cross-court angle.
Just long. Look at Tony Roach.
Well, in the end it worked in Agassi's favour, but actually a miss hit off that kick serve. It's not much to choose between these two in the serving department.
Another look at Stoltenberg's route through to the final. He's incidentally drawn in the first round of Indian Wells against Tommy Haas, the man Agassi beat in the semis here. So that'll be a good match between two men in form.
Well, Stoltenberg certainly going for his shots, and in many ways I feel he should, even though he may be highly ranked and perhaps Agassi not expected to win. I think most people in the know would expect Agassi really to win quite comfortably, as his 4-1 record would suggest.
It's a great rally from both of them. And Agassi with an early chance to break.
Yes, really quite a brilliant point. A pity that somebody had to lose it, but so very effective Agassi here, having to play a one-hander from mid-court, but playing it so deep. Not a great deal of pace, but he had to get it deep.
Very little to choose between their world rankings. Agassi at 50 and Stoltenberg at 47. Both men moving up this year. Agassi, as we've mentioned, from 122. Stoltenberg started the year at 79, so he too has made a good move forward into the top 50. But the first break of serve goes to Agassi.
Agassi leads 2 games to 1.
It puts him ahead 2 games to 1 in the opening set of this, the second final these two men have contested. They contested the final of the Canadian Open in Toronto in 1994. Agassi won that in straight sets, 6-4, 6-4. He leads 2-1.
Dr. Medellino is also head team position.
How does the world start its day? In Budapest, they breakfast on lemon tea, salami and peppers, and a concise update of the world's news. In Hong Kong, perhaps steamed bun and congee with the key business and finance stories. Cappuccino, cornetti, and the world's sporting highlights are popular in Milan. And in Geneva, fresh juice, coffee, and a little charcuterie with the Asia-Pacific pages. Start your day with the International Herald Tribune, the world's daily newspaper.
Really is a lovely setting, this. It's a deceptively large centre court. It goes quite high just to the left of that picture. It holds 8,500 and there are very few empty seats. Organisers must have been delighted to get Agassi as a wild card and then to see him doing so well. How far outside Phoenix is Scottsdale, Fred?
I would say about 15 miles.
Yeah.
And quite a few resorts. This is a part of a hotel come tennis resort. In fact, Andrew Patterson, the Zimbabwean, South African-born Zimbabwean, who was a very good player on the tour, won Monte Carlo one year. He has for a number of years been the host professional at this resort.
Those are the host broadcasters. Fox Network with Barry McKay and Leif Shiras. Agassi serving 2-1.
Well, you can see the difficulty that Stoltenberg himself had on the playing the kick serve.
Confirmation of Agassi's route through. And overwhelming against Tommy Haas in the semis. Sun in the eyes didn't seem to make too much difference.
Yeah, good thinking here, even though he's got that long visor, as the Americans called it, long peak, just using the hand. And once again, a massive kick serve from Agassi, almost Albert Costa-like.
You mentioned Andrew Patterson. I can always remember him being absolutely robbed of a match at Wimbledon by Elie Nastase. I have to say, it wasn't a match I was officiating.
Nah.
It was a match I was watching.
It was a shocker. Well, Agassi once again kicking the serve, and of course one of the reasons is that this is a hard court, but also with the altitude the ball bounces up very high. Those of you who play tennis in altitude or golf in altitude will know that the ball travels faster and further.
Agassi consolidates his break of serve. So the winner today takes away $45,000. So quite a small prize money tournament compared with the indoor events in Europe. But a very useful preparation for the American spring hardcourt season. Indian Wells and Key Biscayne, where there's massive money and points at stake. The first two of the Mercedes Super 9 events.
I think if I were Stoltenberg, I'd be getting in a much higher percentage of first serves and really trying to kick the ball as much as I possibly could. Well, not a lot you can do against that. Pretty good return and a good volley from Stoltenberg. Didn't have a lot of pace on it, but it did have depth. In some ways, of course, it negates the power that he might have, Stoltenberg, but Agassi's shown that he can deal with power.
First double fault of the match.
The fifth ranked of the Australians now, behind Rafter, Philippoussis, Woodbridge and Woodford.
always had the ability to take the early ball, and worrying times for Tony Roach, because Stoltenberg in danger of going down the double break.
Well, there's that kick serve. Now, I think it's better to serve that in the first, because it just takes a bit of pressure off the second serve. We saw the double fault. And at game point in the previous game, when he lost his serve, missed the first serve and didn't hit in a particularly good second serve.
I suppose the danger is against Agassi in this sort of form that you're constantly going for too much, because if you think, well, Agassi's going to get to the ball, he's going to hit a winner past me all the time.
Well, he got the short shot, the drop shot, pretty well played there, Stoltenberg, but you saw him hit quite a powerful first serve, and Agassi was onto it so quickly. Perhaps lucky to come out of it, the Australian.
Agassi, the champion in Scottsdale in '93 when he beat Marcus Andruska in the final, and '94 he beat Luis Matar, the Brazilian. That's a terrific shot.
Brooke Shields, who's just flown in. Nice. Well, I suppose had he lost, she obviously would not have come. But nice to save yourself for the semis and finals.
Certainly, the word about the tour is that she's very instrumental in getting Andre into the mood where he really wanted to come back. Wanted to get back to where he belongs in the world rankings. Oh dear, the wrong option. Thought he was going to wrong foot Agassi, instead just presented him with a easy forehand pass.
An absorbing point, because he'd kicked in the first serve nicely and in the end was dictating the rally, but as you say, David, tried to wrong foot where there was a lot of open court, and with Agassi having to play the two-hander, had he moved to his left, he'd have been a little short of time and a little short of reach. So not the wisest shot by Stoltenberg.
With deuce.
Well, he's really determined to keep up as much pressure as he possibly can on Stoltenberg, and this is good resistance by Stoltenberg. There's that kick serve.
Yes, that's a good game to win. 3-2 Agassi.
nickname is Schumi. Michael Schumacher, Peter Schmeichel, Harold Schumacher. You know the answer, call now. Every week, win a video game station, and that's not all. You could also win Eurosport t-shirts. To play, call right now. Good luck.
The Winter Sport World Cup Finals. The hotshots of biathlon are giving it one final blast at Hochfilzen. Germany's Rico Gross has been on target all season, but don't look now, Rico. Here comes Bjorn Dahlen. And while Magdalena Forsberg looks the pick amongst the women, don't mention that to Kuchleber or Diesel. The Biathlon World Cup Final, live from Hochfilzen, from Thursday on Eurosport.
Agassi leading 3-2 with a break of serve, but failing to take advantage of those 2 break points in the last game. That's always one of the features of American tournaments, that every change of ends, the old commercials are brought out, and the on-court announcer extolling the virtues of the local ice cream or hot dog stand or whatever it might be.
Agassi, of course, so popular, particularly in the States, and normally playing an Australian, he would have a real advantage, but Stoltenberg, I suppose, based in Australia, but also in America, and in fact has reached 8 finals in North America. That's quite some achievement. He's won 3 of them, or won 2 of them rather, one in Birmingham and Coral Springs. No, go back, he has won 3, Birmingham and Coral Springs twice, and also in Toronto. So he's a man who feels very much at ease in North America, so to speak.
Yes, that's Birmingham, Alabama, as opposed to Birmingham, Warwickshire.
Yes.
3-2 with the break. And married to a Czech, Andres Strunadova, that was. Who, of course, was World Junior Champion. They have a son, Matthew, what, about 8 months old now, 9 months old.
Well, that's the one I'm sure that Roach has been working on with Stoltenberg. Now, if you can just play those all the time, he'll have the match won.
Mark Philippoussis, last year's champion, lost in the second round this year to Tommy Haas, the German, who lost to Agassi in the semis. I'm not quite sure whether Stoltenberg got that up, but Agassi had it covered anyway.
Yes, it seemed for a second that Agassi really hadn't played a particularly good drop volley here. It just had enough pace in it, and remember the extra pace that the altitude gives any shot, enough to win the day. It's a very difficult one for the two-hander to deal with, and in many ways I'm surprised Agassi didn't use his one. Perhaps thought that even as he was grunting on his approach to it, that he might win the point aggressively. What a terrific point, particularly by Stoltenberg. Such a contrast, Stoltenberg taking his ground strokes quite a few meters behind the baseline, Agassi right in court. Good defense.
And for the first time, Stoltenberg with a break point. grabs it with both hands. And suddenly those two chances that Agassi had for the double break in the last game looked very important. Stoltenberg serving 3-all.
What an impressive return that was by Stoltenberg, really jumping onto it, almost as if he's told himself he's got to be aggressive. He's got to almost be Agassi-like in his return of serve, so that if he has the opportunity, he's got to go for it. Pointless just pushing the ball back and wasting those opportunities. And I think that's good tactic. Because with Agassi in fairly rampant form, you're not likely to get away with wishy-washy tennis.
Ace number 2. That's a marvelous shot. Now seeing some great stroke play out there.
Quite inspirational. We saw the two-handed angle that he got a while back, and here from the other side of the court, able to achieve really the same result. Not easy to control when there is a bit of height.
And Stoltenberg just came up off that ball a little early. And now in danger of undoing all the good work of the previous game. Chance for Agassi to go ahead once more. Stoltenberg breaks back. Agassi breaks again. And Agassi leads by 4 games to 3. And this time he'll be doubly determined to cling on to the break.
Please open your program to the double page Franklin Templeton ad. If it is signed by Jason Stoltenberg.
I think the little bit of mountain you can see to the left of the palm trees there is Camelback, which is a feature of the area just outside Phoenix, a feature of the behinds of Scottsdale, as it were. As I was saying earlier, a terrific resort people in the colder climes of the states come down to. This and various other tennis resorts.
Yes, including Indian Wells, which is very much both a retirement resort and a holiday resort for people who want to play golf and tennis, and wonderful facilities in this western part of the United States, southwestern part. And certainly the people here are a mixture, no doubt, of holidaymakers and locals, taking full advantage of vastly improved weather. On Friday night, Agassi's quarterfinal against Gamble was stopped because of rain and hail, which isn't exactly too common in this part of the world. And there we go. So Agassi leading by 4 games to 3, once again up a break of serve. And Brooke Shields, his wife, delighted by that.
The horses are champing at the bit for round 13 of the Volvo World Cup. That could spell bad luck for some, but not for all. There has to be a winner. Last year it was wild John Whittaker. This year, who knows?
The Equestrian Volvo World Cup from Paris. Wednesday, 1400 CET, 1 UK on Eurosport with Volvo. They look like supermen. They skate like supermen. At home in Holland, their main problem could be the headwind from the cheering of all their supporters. The World Speed Skating Championships from Heerenveen, from Saturday, 1600 CET, 3 UK on Eurosport.
4-3, Agassi serving.
50.
Both these players born in April, and I was counting up the number of players born in April. It's the busiest month of the tour for these players. 43 of the players born in April, which is more than the June-August birth rate, which was 35 each.
Most of the best people are born in April, in my experience.
Including the April Fool, of course.
Yeah, no, I wasn't born on the 1st. Both myself and my daughter born in April. First love game of the match, and it means that Stoltenberg serving to stay in the set at 3-5. The second double.
Well, we saw the kick serve at the end of that last game from Agassi, how effective it was. It still surprised me that Stoltenberg, with a greater height, he's a couple of inches taller than Agassi, doesn't use it a little bit more. He's got the kicker. Coming across that, he was going to keep relatively low. And of course the problem with using it on the second serve is that by now Agassi's into his stride and he's expecting this to be that much shorter, knows that it's going to be a softer serve, therefore can move in all the time. On the first serve he can't be that sure.
The trembler device that bleeps in the umpire's ear if it's a net cord. Very solid from Stoltenberg.
Yes, he did well to be on his toes there, because Agassi came up with a really well improvised half volley here. You can see him retreating, and yet he was able to really swing out at the ball and hit it hard.
Doing well there, Stoltenberg, hanging on from love 30 down. But Agassi will serve for the set at 5-4.
Come visit courts, 8,000 square foot.
From what you've seen of Agassi so far this year, Fruit, I mean, do you believe he has the ability to get right back into top 10, top 5?
Well, I think it has to be said. I must confess I doubted it. But then, you know, I go back to the fact that there are gaps in the game. Well, we knew Edberg was out of it. He's been out of it a while, but Stich and Becker playing, or Stich out of it altogether, Becker playing a lot less. There are means by which players can make inroads, and somebody with Agassi's talent, and providing he's worked hard, and of course he says he has, there is that opportunity. He has that win over Sampras, so he now believes Sampras is the man he fears most. He now believes, having beaten Sampras this year, that he can do it, and I see no reason, frankly, why he can't. He seems really eager out here today. I rather liked his comment when they were asking him what it took, and he said, well, it was hard work on the weights, it was hard work on the cardio, it was hard work on the tennis court, and it's also taken a lot of hard work with a knife and fork. Cut out all the greasy food, yes. All the fat-making stuff.
It's like I can always remember when he came over to Paris, and L'Équipe, the French daily sports newspaper, which is a super publication, took him out for a meal, I think, and to get a in a Roland Garros interview, and he wanted hamburger and fries.
Yeah, but
you can imagine doing that to the French who were taking him to one of their top restaurants. There we go.
It's always was a fact, even when I was playing, that the Americans on the road wanted to eat what they ate at home. In those days it was steaks, not so much hamburgers.
Serving for the set at 5-4. But it is terrific because when we listened to him in Stuttgart last October saying he was determined to come back this year, I think a lot of us said, well, great if you can do it, but boy, it's going to be a lot of hard work, and he's put it in. And the game is richer as a result of that, there's no doubt. 2 points away from the first set again.
And just watch how he climbs all over this, takes it... well, I thought he'd in fact taken it a little later than that, but of course he gets the terrific power because he's getting over the ball and because of the altitude.
Set points.
Again, that kicker proving quite devilish for Stoltenberg. Rich will acknowledge that. He hasn't got the two-hander to get over it. Got to take it a little earlier.
Agassi wraps up the first set, 6-4.
Whose nickname is Iron Mike? Michael Schumacher, Michael Chang, Mike Tyson? You know the answer, call now. Every week, win a video game station, and that's not all. You could also win Eurosport t-shirts. To play, call right now. Good luck.
They used to be called Indy cars. Nowadays, they're called karts. Racing cars at their most thrilling, and they're back in Sunday Thunder. As the brand new season gets underway, Britain will hope Mark Blundell can pick up where he left off, but the target man will be the brilliant champion, Alex Zanardi. Get set for Miami Dice. Kart in Sunday Thunder, the championship series from Miami. Live Sunday, 6:30 UK time on Eurosport.
Second set, Stoltenberg serving.
It's ridiculously cheeky of Agassi. He's almost half volleying the returns.
Stoltenberg is the older man by 25 days, both born in April 1970.
You can see the problem for Agassi. He's taking that ball so early that unless he really has Stoltenberg on the stretch, providing Stoltenberg can hit it deep, he's got actually court in which to hit the ball behind Agassi.
Found the line.
Well, that's where he's so immensely successful, of course. Terrific hand-eye coordination. Just to mention him being an outstanding cricketer, able to take the fast bowlers.
The double fault from Stoltenberg.
Of course, his father was a boxer, boxed for Iran, the Olympic Games.
Oh. Well, I don't know whether he saw Agassi had moved to that corner and tried to adjust the sides. But what a miss.
He might also have had an eye full of sun. Unlike Agassi, he didn't shield his eyes. You can see the shadow behind him, so he's looking directly into it. Remember Agassi with his left hand. I think Stoltenberg hit the sun instead of the ball. That's where he is so good. There are very few shots, even in this match, that he's missed when he's been round about the service line. It's that one two-hander that when Stoltenberg played an excellent drop shot, but otherwise he's been deadly. Well, Stoltenberg did well then not to rush that backhand, because he had Agassi on the run, and just consolidated by placing his feet carefully, just taking his time and going for the opening.
The deuce. Remember, at one stage Stoltenberg was 40 love up in this game. Now, break point.
Well, Gilbert knows all about playing Stoltenberg in finals. He beat him in the final in Livingston in 1989. Livingston, New York.
And that's a great second serve.
And I think that's no exaggeration, because it had to be great. That's the problem, really, missing the first serve. He's getting close to double faulting with those seconds. It has to be that good.
You think you've hit a good approach, and as you're still moving forward, the ball's flashing back past you.
Like an arrow, straight back along virtually the same path.
Agassi rampant. Gilbert on his feet. And Agassi, having already wrapped up the opening set, gets a break right at the start of the second.
Must be very rewarding for Gilbert now suddenly to be able to get his teeth back into the tour, so to speak. There's unforced errors of Stoltenberg's, of course, really counting. And his first serve percentage really should be higher than that. It normally is lower, Stoltenberg, but I think against Agassi he's got to endeavour to get it quite a bit higher.
I don't think Leafshire, as the host broadcasters, quite mastered the telestrator from that last squiggle.
Yeah, he's a bit wild, a bit of an expressionist in his painting. He follows the Jackson Pollock school. But really costly. He's just missing too many first serves. Even though that percentage is good for Stoltenberg at 64, he's normally 59%, as is Agassi as a rule. But I think against Agassi, you've either got to be serving very powerfully and well, as Sampras can occasionally do, and in, or else you've got to really up your percentage. Particularly here in the altitude. Good kick serves. Give him time to get in.
Especially behind the player.
Agassi leads by a set and 1 game to love. Well, you could see there that Agassi originally thought that the volley of Stoltenberg was going long and had to really step on the gas when he realized it was going to drop in. Left it a little too late.
Well, there was another good example of the kick serve. Now Stoltenberg can actually make it kick further and left Agassi with a lot of open court.
If you're thinking, well, we've just seen those, why are we seeing them again? Of course, the American audience won't have seen them. They were offered a commercial break. And the American commentators were rehearsing, and it looked as if Leafshire needed to rehearse.
215.
Agassi's first double fault.
Very important element of Agassi's game, really, that when he's playing well, he tends generally to be serving well.
Well, he let it go.
30.
That could prove to be very expensive. Breakback point.
He got a little carried away. He was almost trying to hit that thing harder than he possibly could, and as a result left it a little short for Stoltenberg. It's the second time we've seen somebody slip, but I think both Agassi and Stoltenberg slipped having played the shot. I don't think it really affected. See the slide coming there. Each time the ball was out.
Second chance for Stoltenberg to break back. Oh dear. Double fault, and Stoltenberg the break back. 1-all.
Striving for peak performance. Speeding over the snow with power and precision. It's the battle of the mountain, and the devil take the hindmost.
The Alpine Skiing FIS World Cup live from Crans, Montana. The women's and men's downhill, Wednesday, 9 at 11:30 CET, 8 and 10:30 UK on Eurosport.
With Volvo.
Cathay de Colombia.
And Milka, the Alpine milk chocolates.
1-all, second set.
Love 15.
He's pretty irritated with himself, and really he'd hung in there so well. Again got this behind Agassi, because Agassi likes to play the ball up in the middle of the court. Poor volley.
15.
Almost ideal conditions, cloudless and virtually windless.
Tempting to say that Agassi's pretty faultless. He's not, of course. He's made some errors out there, but it's no good to see him playing so well.
Well, there's another example of it, and I think too the temperature here in the high 60s is, as it were, inspirational rather than perspirational, and it enables Agassi really to throw everything at the game and still have a lot of breath left.
Again, that's that deliberate backhand down the line. Well played by Stoltenberg.
But the prime example again of the kick really taking Agassi out. Kick on the first serve. He can't step into it. It's not what he thinks of umpire Christ, I don't think. But
again, it's a sign of just how keyed up and eager he is. Stoltenberg's had a couple of outrageous net courts. And that's the first game to go with serve in this second set. And it's Stoltenberg who's ahead by 2-1. Just a reminder, of course, we start our coverage of Indian Wells at 6 p.m. UK time on Monday. Tim Henman and Greg Rosetsky in the field, as is just about everybody. In fact, I think the only person in the top 20 who's not there is Richard Krajcek, who, of course, is now taking a sabbatical, a paternity sabbatical, awaiting the birth of his first child. 1-2, second set. That's a great shot.
Love 15.
He's almost more correct on his backhand side, is Stoltenberg. It's once or twice he hasn't quite got his body into good shape for the shot, but otherwise generally just right.
And there's two more.
A little bit of encouragement from Coach Roach. We saw the born-again Jan Semmering yesterday. In a way, Australian tennis is in the same state. In fact, everybody is. Agassi resurging. Australian tennis generally resurging. Except Tony Rett, he's looking a little older, a few more grey hairs.
What's that saying about pots and kettles?
Is that an Australian doubles team? I know Michael Tebbett's in the final here with Cyril Sook. But pots and kettles.
I detect even the odd grey hair in you, Fru, but I'm just jealous that you've got hair. So now then, Stoltenberg, who was down a break at the start of this set, with the chance to go up a break.
Well, there's that terrific finishing off skill of Agassi. Good retrieving by Stoltenberg, and it might have fooled a lesser man. This is so often where the better players are separated from the boys, that ability to finish off.
Well, we've had break points in every game of the second set.
2-game call.
We've had 2 breaks and 2 holds, and it's 2-all.
And you would have seen Agassi asking the ball boy ready to retreat to his position. And that's chiefly because the players get used to seeing them up at the net or back in the corner, and they just catch them out of the corner of their eye during the course of a rally. They want them in their right spot. Well, good angle. He seems to get a good angle when he's on the run, Stoltenberg, and Agassi trying to out-angle him. Not a bad idea, as Stoltenberg did during that point. Really lofted one, just to see what Agassi might do with it, because occasionally he's going to run short of breath in the middle of a rally, and by putting in the big looper, he'll be able to catch it.
And it's a very fine serve and volley of Jason Stoltenberg, who's world #1 junior in both singles and doubles, with Todd Woodbridge. Won the Australian and Wimbledon junior doubles titles. And of course Woodbridge found a partner called Woodford, who was a little bit older, of course. fourth double fault.
Advantage Stoltenberg.
I think it just got the edge of the line, outside edge.
Certainly a little tough to overrule. This is the shot.
He gave me a really late signal, but I couldn't tell.
I know, but now you're obligated to not overrule at all today. Please don't do that, all right? Because if you didn't do that serve and that backhand.
Well, that serve, I can see a mark. I can't tell on that one, but over there.
Just stick with the program, and we're all behind. Obviously, great calls right here. It's fine.
It's usually very interesting to listen to Agassi. He makes a lot of sense with these arguing as a rule, quite eloquent in press conferences, quite eloquent in speeches. I remember listening to him at the Champions Dinner after he'd won Wimbledon. One of the better speeches.
Yes, it certainly was. I think he was quite overcome by the whole evening, wasn't he?
Yes, I think, well, just everything, because he'd never really rated Wimbledon. Remember how long it took to get him onto grass, and then, of course, he came and won it, and now he says that, you know, it's virtually the arena that he admires most. It certainly changed him, made a believer in him, a born-again grass lover.
Yes, it'll be great to see him do well there again this summer, hopefully. One break of serve each in this second set. First set to Agassi.
Now Stoltenberg can just hurt him a little bit here early on. It might just remind him of the little bit of discussion that he's had with umpire Christ. More easily said than done. Stoltenberg has the same thoughts that I do, because that's the most aggressive he's looked, really. He almost looked like Agassi trying to half volley the ball virtually en route.
He's just told Norman Chris not to overrule, so he's not going to overrule.
Well, I thought that was quite a bit inside the line, just inside it.
Yeah, me too.
And if the crowd want to see a bit more of Agassi, so should they. Plenty of advice flying in now from every angle.
Oh, that's a bad miss. But the ball had really sat up so nicely for Stoltenberg off the net court. And not to get the ball into play was criminal. Even so, 2 points for Stoltenberg to move ahead 4-2.
Well, it was an impressive return, most unusual by Stoltenberg, chipping and charging in the forehand, and he almost got away with it, barring a little hesitation on the half volley. Didn't quite know what to do with that.
Agassi.
Well, terrific shot in the circumstances, because he's been angling these a lot, and there's suddenly an injection of pace at Stoltenberg standing.
Agassi holds. It's 3-all, second set.
Which one of these tennis players ended his career in 1997? Pete Sampras, Michael Stich, Thomas Muster. Remember? Then call the Eurosport hotline now. Every week, you could win a video game station along with a football game. And that's not all. You could also win Eurosport t-shirts. Why wait? Call right now. And good luck.
A grueling test of determination, strength and stamina. Covering mile after mile of almost impossible terrain in bitterly cold, merciless temperatures. Up mountains, then down them, through forests, through blizzards even.
The cross-country skiing FIS World Cup from Falun. Friday, 1700 CET. That's 4 UK time on Eurosport.
Three all, second set. First set, Agassi 6-4. Stoltenberg serving.
It's a change to see two right-handers out there. I know we had them in Dubai with Krich and Mantia, and in London, but otherwise Eurosport's been, at least my working on Eurosport this year, has been dominated by left-handers. Korda in Qatar, and Korda in Rios in the Australian, Rosnetsky in Antwerp, and Skian Ivanisevic in Split.
First love service game for Jason Stoltenberg.
The official racket of the Franklin Templeton tennis class.
Same rink, of course. This is Rotterdam.
Yes, exactly. Well, he's likely to be putting on a bit of a spurt here, Agassi, just that time at the set, when if he just raises his game, raises his power, and that is what he's inclined to do.
Whoops.
That was a good effort. Almost as if he's been doing some circuit training.
30 to 50.
He's up very quickly.
Because what happens very often on courts in what really is a semi-desert type terrain is that with wind, as we've had during the week, we believe, here in Scottsdale, the sand gets on and becomes a little gritty, and so the players are inclined to slip occasionally.
Another one of those terrific backhands from Stoltenberg. He's hit them both down the line and cross court. And here's a chance for Stoltenberg to be 5-3 up in this set.
Well, I'm sure Agassi gets a great kick out of that, being able to save a break point with a serve. Of course, that's what he will lack, really, when he's contrasted with people like Sampras and the better servers around.
Second break point.
And they're mixing it up. First break point save to the backhand, that one to the forehand. Was that a sort of smile I saw from Roach? Maybe indicating a not the most confident looking smash, almost as if the sun was bothering him again.
Oh dear. And they're getting rather carried away. It was that kicker that again troubled him, but just can't afford to miss opportunities like that. 7 break points Stoltenberg's failed to convert on in this second set. He has broken once.
Thanks.
Big game for both of them. Agassi clings on despite the 3 break points. For all.
And Stoltenberg perhaps up against it, because Agassi doing it with a mixture of good serving but also good ground strokes. Very often with players like him, it's their two-hander down the line that tells me they're at their very best. We haven't seen much of it yet today from him. Seen a few from Stoltenberg.
15.
If Agassi can start rifling that down the line, then watch out everyone in Indian Wells. Can't argue with those machines.
Terrific low volley. Textbook stuff.
40.
It's been a rarity to have a service game in this second set without a service break. Stoltenberg without a break point, I should say.
I guess they did.
Stoltenberg leads 5-4, and Agassi having another conversation with Norm Christ.
Yes, Norm Christ, umpire Christ, really seems to be quite enjoying the little bit of dialogue too. Impressed, though, as you said, David, with Stoltenberg's serve volleying there, because 30-all, Agassi just senses the match is his, and you feel, or I feel, if Stoltenberg had missed the first serve there, Agassi would have been right in, and it would have been so much pressure. As it was, there was a lot of pressure, and Stoltenberg reacted well.
Serving to stay in the second set, Agassi.
Well, in the end, it was backhand all right, backhand down the line all right, but it's the one from the back of the court I'll be looking for. He tries that very flat serve that he tends to be a little irregular with it. Of course, he's trying for maximum pace, but he's very often better just coming around it a little bit and only dropping the power fractionally. He gets a far higher percentage of serves when he does that. There's one.
And also a second love service game for Agassi. 5-all.
5-6.
15. 5 double faults. And 3 aces.
Seems to have relented a little bit, Agassi, giving Stoltenberg a bit more time to play his shots. Not for long.
Yes. Nine games in a row with serve. And Agassi will have to serve to try and take it into a second set tie-break, 5-6.
There's always that little bit of extra pressure when you're serving second. And Stoltenberg will be hoping to make a little bit of thrust that he was able to earlier on when he was able to get to break point against Agassi. Perhaps look to put pressure immediately on the first point of this game. To try and hurry Agassi, who really hasn't hurt him much with the first serve, although he served relatively well, Agassi. No ace from him yet.
But at least he's going for a few big first serves. When he was in his slump, he was sort of just spinning them in, wasn't he?
Yes, and as I was saying, very often it's an indicator of his form.
It is extraordinary, and here we are, beginning of March. He's already won 3 more matches on the tour than he did in the whole of last year. He won 12 matches on the tour last year. 15 wins so far coming into this match.
Still only the 5th ranked American behind Sampras, Chang, Woodruff and Courier. Imagine he might climb a bit after today.
Yes, if he wins, he'll get around about 40, they reckon. I think in terms of form, might put him second behind Sampras.
Yes, that's for sure, because 2 of those above him, Woodruff and Courier, really have been pretty inactive. And Chang hasn't exactly been in terrific form. Finally Memphis, I know, but he's normally a bit more consistent. Americans in the top 100. I know many of you have watched David Wheaton over the years, trying to make his way back, still ranked 132 though. He's in the doubles final here. That'll help. Not his ranking, but his mind.
Talking of doubles, I want to tell you that the doubles final in Rotterdam was won by the top seeds, Alting and Harhaus over Broad and Norval.
Yeah, so we had a double Dutch. Semmering winning the singles.
Yep. Nice skills from Agassi. 6-all.
40.
I beg your pardon, I'm getting ahead of myself. I had it down as 40-15.
Yes, he knew that he didn't have to make a particularly solid volley, that is a hard hit one. Just quite risky on that because he had a lot of open court.
We will go to the tiebreak after Agassi's first ace. 6 games all.
6 games all. Tiebreak.
How does the world start its day? In Budapest, they breakfast on lemon tea, salami and peppers, and a concise update of the world's news. In Hong Kong, perhaps steamed bun and congee with the key business and finance stories. Cappuccino, cornetti, and the world's sporting highlights are popular in Milan. And in Geneva, fresh juice, coffee, and a little charcuterie with the Asia-Pacific pages. Start your day with the International Herald Tribune, the world's daily newspaper.
The tiebreak to decide the second set.
It's the 14th set that these two have played, and this is their first ever tiebreaker. I always think Agassi is a very dangerous customer, even though he didn't have a good tiebreak record last year. Agassi didn't have a good anything record, but this is the sort of game, a bit like Kafelnikov's, where he can hurt a bit with the serve, but he can do so much damage off the ground. And an inspirational player, and it's almost as if a tiebreaker might bring the best out in him.
Just wide. 2-0. Quiet prayer from the missus might help as well. Almost too much time to think about that passing shot. Really hurried it in the end.
Yes, going for the high part of the net, but still it was a comparatively easy shot, and just a little bit of snatching there. It's a real break for Stoltenberg. Well, what can you advise about tiebreakers? Stoltenberg's record last year was nothing to write back to Newcastle about. He's home in Australia. 2-1-9 lost.
Too good.
Well, he really learned, having missed that previous two-hander down the line, which he hit so badly into the net. When Stoltenberg tries to wrong foot him here, he gets behind it, and he really gives the ball a lot of air, quite a lot of loft.
Once again, Agassi up the mini break. Not for long. A third double fault, and you always feel a double in a tiebreak is doubly expensive.
It is that, and really I fault him for not only that, but also the big flat serve. It's a non-percentage serve. He's only managed it once or twice in the match. Every now and again, Stoltenberg, who can be so good on the backhand, just loses it a bit and ends up not getting close enough, and so has to do a lot of work solely with the arm, and then things are likely to go wrong.
He seemed to get it right, but again, going for the high part of the net, didn't give himself quite enough margin of error.
Terrific view of the rally, that courtside angle that we had, and what it showed was Agassi just giving himself enough room, enough margin for error across the net, and Stoltenberg with that one trying to hit it very close to the net.
Oh dear, he's got underneath that. He's lost 2 points on his serve, and Agassi has 3 championship points.
Agassi wants the ball behind him so he doesn't have to look into the sun when he collects it.
He's done it. Agassi, a second title of the year, the best win-loss record of the year. This is quite a comeback.
Well, we've seen Jan Simmering do it in Holland. We've seen Agassi in his home country, if not his hometown. Of course, Las Vegas is that, but terrific to see him back in such force, and what a threat. We hope he sustains it for the rest of the year. A good effort by Stoltenberg, but I think just some of his tactics are a little questionable, and perhaps just losing his nerve in that tiebreak at the wrong moment. Not easy to do that against Agassi in this sort of form.
So that we recorded yesterday, of course, and Andre Agassi is in action on the opening day of Indian Wells, which is a little surprising. Late on in the day, we may very well be able to bring you that match against Todd Woodbridge on Tuesday afternoon. But at 6 o'clock tonight UK time, it'll be Kiefer against Quirton. Join us then.